Welcome to my story. Let me take you back to a night in 2021, a night that still sends shivers down my spine whenever I think about it. I was 18, fresh out of high school, and working as a part-time nanny for a family in the suburbs of Austin, Texas. The Johnsons were a sweet family with 2 kids, Lily, who was 7, and Tyler, who was 9. It was supposed to be an easy gig, a Friday evening with pizza, movies, and a bit of bedtime storytelling. But what happened that night was anything but ordinary. The Johnsons' house was modern, but sat on the edge of a wooded area that stretched for miles. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the towering trees cast long, eerie shadows across the backyard. The kids were excitedly chattering about Halloween plans while I prepped dinner. It wasn't Halloween yet, but the atmosphere felt fitting for something out of a horror story. After dinner, the kids begged to watch a movie. We settled on an animated film, something light and funny. About halfway through, the home's doorbell rang. This was odd because the Johnsons' house sat at the end of a long driveway and visitors were rare. I told the kids to stay put and approached the door cautiously. Through the peephole, I saw nothing but darkness. No car, no person, just the faint outline of the driveway leading into the woods. Uneasy, I flipped on the porch light and opened the door a crack. No one was there. Shrugging it off as a prank, I locked the door and returned to the living room, trying to shake the feeling of being watched. The movie continued without interruption until the house phone rang. Who still used a landline in 2019? The caller ID read, unknown. Curious and slightly annoyed, I answered. Hello, a raspy voice responded. You shouldn't have opened the door. My blood ran cold. Who is this? I demanded, but the line went dead. I told myself it was a prank, maybe one of the local teens messing with me. But when I glanced at the kids, their wide-eyed expressions told me they'd overheard. It's nothing, I assured them. Just a stupid joke. Trying to shake off the unease, I double-checked that all the doors and windows were locked. As I walked past the sliding glass door that led to the backyard, I thought I saw a shadow move at the tree line. I froze, staring into the darkness, but nothing moved. Just my imagination, I told myself. Still, I pulled the curtains shut. Let's get ready for bed, I told the kids, trying to keep my voice calm. They protested, but eventually trudged upstairs. After tucking them in, I returned to the living room, determined to wait out the rest of the night with all the lights on. Not long after, the power went out. The entire house plunged into darkness. My phone's flashlight was my only source of light as I stumbled to the kitchen to check the circuit breaker. Before I could reach it, I heard a soft tapping at the sliding glass door. I froze, my heart pounding. The sound was deliberate, slow, and steady. Gathering every ounce of courage, I turned toward the noise, the beam of my flashlight trembling. The curtains were still drawn, but the tapping continued, persistent and unnerving. Who's there? I called out, my voice barely above a whisper. No response. Summoning my courage, I stepped closer and pulled the curtain back just enough to peek outside. My flashlight's beam illuminated a single handprint on the glass, large, smudged, and unmistakably fresh. I stumbled back, nearly dropping my phone. The tapping had stopped, but the silence was worse. My instincts screamed at me to get the kids and leave, but the thought of stepping outside into the darkness was terrifying. Instead, I ran upstairs to the kids' room, locking the door behind me. What's wrong? Tyler asked, his voice trembling. Nothing. We're just gonna hang out up here for a bit, I lied, forcing a smile. I barricaded the door with a chair and kept the kids close. I dialed 911, whispering my situation to the operator. She assured me that officers were on their way, but out here, it could take time. Minutes felt like hours as we huddled together in the dim room. Then we heard it. Footsteps on the stairs. Slow, deliberate, each creak sending a wave of terror through me. I clutched a baseball bat I'd found in Tyler's closet, my hands shaking. The footsteps stopped just outside the door. The handle jiggled. Who's there? I shouted, trying to sound braver than I felt. No response. The handle jiggled again, harder this time. The kids whimpered, and I tightened my grip on the bat, preparing for the worst. Then, the sound of sirens pierced the silence. Red and blue lights flashed through the window, and the jiggling stopped. Footsteps retreated down the stairs, followed by the sound of a door slamming. Moments later, a police officer's voice called out, announcing their presence. The officers searched the house and the surrounding woods, but found no one. They did, however, discover signs of forced entry at the back door and muddy footprints leading away into the trees. That night, I learned how quickly a seemingly ordinary evening could turn into a nightmare. The Johnsons were horrified when they returned, apologizing profusely and installing a new security system the very next day. As for me, I've never babysat again. Some things just aren't worth the risk.